Yo, what's up guys, welcome back. So, new Horus cards, old school. At least looking at, what was it? Soul of the Duelist, I think. You know, the regular Horus cards. So, let's take a look, right? New support and the deck might seem ugly on paper, but believe me, it's super effective. A couple of reasons. So first of all, the new Horus cards, what do they do? The most important one is their continuous spell. The continuous spell is searchable by the most left one, which is the spellcaster, this one. So what's the gimmick of the deck? The gimmick of the deck is that, of course, the main goal is to get to your continuous spell, either drawing it or searching it with level, they're all level 8 by the way, and you know, use your continuous spell. You can discard one card to Foolish Burial one of your Horus cards directly from the deck to the graveyard. So you can use that effect up to 4 times per turn. So that you basically, it's a big Foolish Burial 4 times, right, during the same turn. Why would you do that? Well, the second part of the deck, or you know, like core of the deck, or goal of the deck, is to get all of your different names, Horus cards, in the graveyard. Simply because once per turn, if you have that Sarcophagus card face up on the field, the continuous one, you can just special summon them from the graveyard, and that's once per turn. So they're basically, they kind of remind me of like Ga, Do, Do, you know, those cards, but for rank 8, basically. But the beautiful part is that you can just use them for link summons, for example, because they basically have no restriction. They won't banish themselves if they leave the field, so that's kind of sick. They also got a new trap card, which I'm not running, not for this build. So first of all, I don't see the goal yet to play them, you know, like pure, simply because they don't really have like negation. They do have an interruption effect, draw effect, etc. But that only works if your opponent like destroys them with card effects. And that's kind of like a bummer. So I feel for now, just play them as an engine, right? So as you see, so why this deck? Why Volcanics with Sprite and Runic? You might have seen the build, I uploaded it, was it last week, I think, from like Runic, you know, Sprite, Volcanic, because of the discards. Again, your continuous spell can discard up to 4 times per turn to get that Foolish Burial effect. So again, I'm looking at Volcanic Shell or the Volcanic Trap or whatever. Again, as you know, you have multiple cards that want to be discarded. So that's why the Volcanic engine, I feel, is definitely an add-on for Horus, right? And then, yeah, Runic Volcanic, these Runic cards, Sprite cards, they kind of speak for themselves. Obviously, go first and go second, super versatile cards. Plus, and as you saw, this deck eats through hand traps. You know, like Yugioh can potentially force out the hand trap. The field spell can potentially force out the hand trap. That makes it so that your other searches or other cards, they are safe from hand traps, right? Because your opponent already used them. The beautiful part here is that why would you add the Horus cards to this deck? It makes it so that you can make your combos Nibiru proof, or you know, prevent your opponent from using, you know, well-timed hand traps on, let's say, your crucial cards like your Volcanic engine. So that's really cool. So here again, a couple of hand traps later, use Phoenix to blow away the back row, which indeed was a Tikaboo, you know, whatchamacallit, the Imperm probably would have been activated before. This is why, again, the Runic Sprite engine is there, because of Angler. Again, it can be discarded or sent to the graveyard by multiple cards in a deck to trigger its effect. The bread and butter of the deck also includes Masquerina to, you know, like Reborn and Ash, or potentially with your level 3 Volcanic, give your opponent a token, Mannequin Cat. Mannequin Cat will trigger, you know, reborning or special summoning a rocket or whatever. So like the deck works super well together. So before you lock yourself into Gigantic Sprite or a starter, right, you're going for your big Volcanic boss or your high level summons, right, basically link upgrades. And here I don't have a battle phase, so that's why I'm forced to go for Access Code Talker. To use its effect-wise, I only have the Trap on field, which is a monster effect negation, and the potential bounce with Sprint, right? And of course, a Mannequin Cat special summon if there is like either a Dark or maybe a Fire. At least if my opponent special summons, that is. So this is okay-ish. We know the hand, I think. I'm not so sure, do we? I'm not so sure. We know the Fire one. Yeah, I think the other 3 cards are unknown, I think. So anyway, was able to recycle shells, again use shells, Access Code Darker survived, and again, you know, pop the back rows. We know one of them was Tikaboo, which in this case I don't think mattered. Again, all different types. You know, basically reborn an opponent's monster, which is Ash Blossom, that searches Rocket, which searches basically any card that can be discarded. So Access Code lasted, look at this, because again, their effects are once per turn, but not once per duel. They don't banish themselves. it doesn't matter. As long as you control that continuous sarcophagus, you can just reborn, like, look at this, 4 level 8 monsters, like, for free. And that's kind of insane if you ask me. That's really, really busted. So you see now, like, the bread and butter of the deck, you're playing a lot of discard cards, and like the other engine also, you know, gain advantage of those discard cards, like the Volcanic engine, for example. So it all works together. So I was able to search a field spell here with Tip, banishing the Dark Ruler from top. So again, hopefully not a third hand trap, because again, this turns on potential mannequin. There is no fire, so no mannequin, but free my empty monster zone to go for gigantic weight with its effect, you know, just in case if you're, you know, able to go for Yugioh or something like that. But here in this case, those free draws net me one of my, you know, searches or any Volcanic engine, right? Just to make things live. And again, most importantly, I want to get that shell as fast as possible because of this continuous spell. Oh, the thing is that I think all of the Horus cards are just fine as a one-off, unless you're unless the spellcaster one, which is, I think, the most important one, because that one will discard itself from the hand with another card, let's say Shell, for example, or the Volcanic Trap, to search your continuous spell, your sarcophagus, and then you can draw one. So it's basically, it replenishes itself, plus it's a searcher. Plus, if you have the continuous sarcophagus on field, you can reborn at level 8 at the same time. So that's really, really insane. It's a really solid engine, and might be actually splashable in some decks, simply because it's so versatile. But again, a deck that's already playing multiple cards that can be discarded, right, or, you know, gain advantage. Well, it's not really discarded, it's sent, right, so it doesn't work with Dark World or Danger, if I'm not mistaken. So that already, you know, takes away a lot of the potential combo decks that could use this as an engine. Last example, again going first, draw phase, right, play around, try to play around draw. Draw is important against this deck, obviously. You're playing so many searches, it is what it is. So Rimfire banish itself to, what does it send? Shell? Yeah, because I need Shell. Send the spellcaster, search a continuous, draw one. Use Shell, you know, pay 500, use a continuous, discard, send one of the level 8s. This is again basically a free rank 8 exceed. No, Magnamut prevents that. One of them is indeed a dark, so I can just discard another card to send one of the other names to the graveyard. You go for the Galaxy Ice one, the one that negates monster effects, but will not destroy unless you, what is it, detach a Galaxy card? I think it's something like that. So now with that monster, no, okay, Nibiru was already used, but, you know, I can go all in and use one of my Volcanic effects. It goes through, so that's nice. The Ash Blossom is there, so again, I would not have been able to, or at least I wasn't forced to keep my level 3 on the field, because again, that one gives my opponent the fire token, right, the fire monster that could potentially trigger Mannequin Cat for, you know, a rocket summon from the deck. So eventually, if you special summon all of your higher level monsters, which is, you know, the Volcanic boss to surge a trap, you can lock yourself eventually into Gigantic Sprite, or with, you know, Gigantic Sprite for Carrot here in this case. Use the continuous spell to pop one of the monsters, right, and just leave the Ash Blossom there, right? Again, if your opponent special summons a monster, you can Mannequin Cat that away, like, look. Use Rocket to search one of the traps, and I believe here in this case the Unicorn should be hitting the board. Unicorn discarding the Volcanic Trap, and that's a Scatter Shot Raigeki break, or Raigeki, blow away the entire board from the opponent. So this again kind of sick, right? Look, Scatter Shot, you know, extra burn damage right away, and I still have more interruptions ready. I still think I have Carrot on field, plus a Monster Effect Negation, plus I think Starter as well for red. Ah, so really, really, really busted. Yeah, flip it over during the end phase, you know, send back 2, reveal, Starter, red. Yeah, this is game, no? We know that there is one Nibiru in hand. Yeah, whatever. So, like, long story short, I think the Horus cards are really good. They are really, really, really solid. Like, does it need to be in this deck? No, not really. But I think that with the Volcanic cards, like, the other engines just go super well together. And you're not super reliant on your normal summon, for example. So that's why, again, the Runic engine is there to open up any sprint play. And sprint is beaver, you know, angler, beaver. Like angler on its own is really stupid, but sprint is stupid as well. But again, there are more cards that are ban-worthy. I'm not only looking at the sprite cards, but I mean, look at this, 3 level 8s on field. And this should be more than enough to deck for a game. So really fun. Definitely give the deck a try, but I mean, it's kind of frightening, these new cards, because again, it's once per turn, but not once per duel, so it's kind of iffy. Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment or like if you enjoyed the video. Leave them sign out. Peace.